Hello, everybody. Today we're covering New Avengers Volume 2, which consists of issues 7 through 10 of Brian Michael Bendis' run on New Avengers. This video is part of a multi-part series of videos that I'm doing, where I'll be covering a lot of Bendis' work during this time as Marvel. I suggest checking out the other videos so you're not confused by the events covered in this video. This time he is joined by artist Steve McNiven, inker Mark Morales, and colorist Maury Hollowell. This arc covers the Sentry's entrance into the team. I've mentioned some of my thoughts on the Sentry so far, and how I have some issues with his character. However, I think early on in Bendis' New Avengers run, and towards the latter half of his run when he starts writing Dark Avengers, is when I think Sentry is at his best. This arc is only 4 issues long, so it won't take too long to cover it. And if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you guys would like, comment, and subscribe. Volume 2 opens with Spider-Woman and Iron Man having a conversation regarding one of the inmates who escaped from the raft during the events of Volume 1. Spider-Man wants to get a head start in catching this inmate and wants to take whoever she can with her. Iron Man is going to be off the mission for now as he has something to take care of. He heads into a warehouse, and what us readers see is the gathering of Marvel's Illuminati. Marvel's Illuminati is a top-secret organization comprised of some notable Marvel characters such as Iron Man, Mr. Fantastic, Stephen Strange, Black Bolt, Namor, and Professor X. These characters gather and form the secret society when major events and decisions occur. This specific meeting occurred because the rest of the organization are worried about the events that transpired in Volume 1 regarding the prison break and the forming of the new team. The story then cuts to a girl on Long Island being approached by a very large man who demands that he give her something that was once his. Her father has a collection of various clothing items from different supervillains, most notably Spider-Man ones. Now, this man is looking for something specific, a crowbar. We then get the reveal that this inmate is a villain named the Wrecker, who's part of a group named the Wrecking Crew. As he tries to escape, he gets approached by the rest of the New Avengers team minus Captain America and Iron Man. They begin fighting the Wrecker, but he proves to be very powerful and durable. And it's true, he has fought the Avengers before, and even gone toe-to-toe with Thor. Wolverine and Luke Cage get wrecked, pun intended, by the Wrecker as he basically knocks them out of his way. The heroes try their best to keep him at bay, but he proves to be too strong for them. Wolverine gets made fun of a little bit, with him basically being thrown around like a toy. The Wrecker basically begins hurling quote-unquote creative insults straight from the mind of Brian Michael Bendis. Then Spider-Woman approaches Wrecker, trying to stop him as best as she can. We then cut to the Nevada desert as Maria Hill welcomes Captain America and Iron Man to an opening in a cave. Now, this cave is where the Sentry is currently residing. He's hiding in this cave because he fears a monster called the Void that is going to come and wreak havoc because he saved the heroes in Volume 1. He's upset because using his powers allowed the Void to break free, and his monster killed his wife. Cap and Iron Man have a surprise for the Sentry as they welcome his wife into the cave, telling Robert Reynolds that his wife is alive. Alongside her, they bring a comic book writer named Paul Jenkins who created him, the character of the Sentry. So this is where it gets a little weird and metatextual. So Paul Jenkins is the creator of the Sentry, and he also did create a miniseries before this, so if you guys want me to cover that, I can. We get a Golden/Silver Age throwback set of pages starring the Sentry. These pages resemble the books during the time of the Golden and Silver Age and represent the stories of the character of the Sentry that Paul Jenkins had created within the Marvel Universe. Sentry is seen interacting with Skrulls, passing by Thor, and even fighting the Void. The heroes brought Jenkins and Reynolds' wife into the cave to try and make sense of the metatextual situation that is going on. How can the Sentry be a comic book character and a real-life hero at the same time? The book cuts back to the end of Volume 1 with Wolverine and Iron Man having a conversation regarding the new team and how he could be an important member of this team. Wolverine doesn't think he should join the team, and Iron Man and him discuss the events of Avengers Disassembled and how it devastated Tony. He wants to make up for it and work to make the team, this new one, a better one. So what happened on that day doesn't happen again. Now we go back to the fight with the Wrecker, where Wolverine gets knocked away once more. This way you'd think Bendis has it out for Wolverine or something. Spider-Woman tries an interesting new tactic to fight him, by saying that she wants to help him. Now, going back again to the Sentry, his wife tries to calm him down and get some answers from him. He thinks she died in front of him, but she's still here. Sentry claims that he saw her die and starts suffering from what looks like a panic attack. Starts charging with power and teleports out of the cave. Us readers then see a blonde man grabbing some food and watching TV in their small home. Now, once again, going back to the fight with the Wrecker, We get Spider-Woman trying to talk to the Wrecker. She tells him that this isn't really what he wants and asks him what he actually wants. He's happy to be asked for once, but unfortunately for him, it was all a trick because she was just buying time for Wolverine to get a good hit in. He slashes his back, and with that, the heroes help take him down. For good this time. After that, the heroes all question Spider-Woman because her trick worked a little too well, and Wolverine can sense why. She reveals that she can release pheromones that cause men to be attracted to her. Considering she is literally the only female member on the team, it can lead to some funny interactions. Then Iron Man assembles the team to go to Connecticut immediately. Robert Reynolds continues to watch TV as an image of Emma Frost pops up on the TV screen. She basically tells him to go outside and touch grass because he is stuck in his own mind. When he does, he sees the new Avengers, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, and the Inhumans all gathered on his front lawn. Now, he starts flipping out, saying that the Void is on his way. He is terrified right now. And then we cut back to the meeting with Marvel's Illuminati, where Iron Man tries asking Reed Richards about the Sentry. But Mr. Fantastic claims he doesn't know him at all, even though he sent Matt Murdock to talk to him. Iron Man has never heard of him either. He just heard that he was a good guy once upon a time. But Matt Murdock was sent there for a reason to check up on him. And Professor X thinks that Reed's mind was tampered with. Currently, the Void has arrived at the battlefield, resembling a giant fire beast, and attacks all the heroes. Meanwhile, Reed tries to talk to him about his whole situation. Robert Reynolds, at least supposedly, thinks that he is subconsciously making him and others forget about his own identity. He tries showing him this message that he recorded for Reed so he can understand a little bit about what's going on with him. Now the Void changes shape into a different hideous monster and continues fighting the heroes. Then Reynolds allows Emma Frost to enter his mind, and when we do, it gets a little weird. His mind is basically a tapestry of different stories and events that have happened in the Marvel Universe, including his origin story, also resembling old school art which confuses them, but it isn't quite what the Sentry remembers it to be. Emma Frost sees a specific spot that is hidden away, and upon further reveal, it looks like he is in a lab of some sort, or on an operating table. We find out that it was an X-Men character named Jason Wingard, aka Mastermind, who was in front of him. He can basically manipulate someone's senses into doing what he commands. Alongside that, a potential side effect can be that no one would remember the affected person as well. Once again, the Void changes form and the heroes are struggling to defend themselves against it. And it's pretty crazy because the Void was supposed to be just a simple delusion that was part of Mastermind's plan, but it basically became its own sentient entity. Emma Frost brings Robert Reynolds' wife into his own mind to help restore it. And she is obviously freaked out by this as she doesn't know what to do. Emma tries explaining it to her as best as she can, and we get a small flashback as to how they ended up together. It's nice to see this as we get to actually see a Robert who is happy and sane, a person who isn't broken and scared to even exist. He thinks he even messed his wife's life up. Eventually, this realization stops the Void, as Emma Frost has experience with Mastermind's powers. She can help break Sentry out of it. She tries convincing him until he eventually says yes, and gives in to let Emma unlock his mind. Now, he's able to get a fresh start, where he can now control his life, his memories, and unlock his full power. The heroes check up on him now that the fight is over. Emma starts unlocking his mind, and then finally with that, the Sentry is reborn and now properly added to the team of the new Avengers. He gets to reconcile with his wife, and the team heads back to the tower because they get a call saying that there is something on top of their tower, which is in fact the Sentry's base. As he goes inside it, we get a final shot with the members of Marvel's Illuminati who discuss the aftermath of the battle in Connecticut. Reed also heard about some stuff going on within S.H.I.E.L.D., and Iron Man dismisses his concern. which is probably some foreshadowing for the future. And thus ends Volume 2 of New Avengers. New Avengers Volume 2 is a cool story of a hero who was manipulated to basically forget himself. The Void is an interesting concept, as like I said. It wasn't a real thing in this continuity originally. It was a concept, part of an illusion that was set to trick Robert Reynolds into basically resetting himself into a couch potato. He also thought that he killed his own wife when in fact she stayed alive. Bendis does a good job of making it a little bit meta. It isn't too confusing and does a good job reintroducing this character into the main Marvel continuity. Steve McNiven's art and Mark Morales' inks are fantastic in this series, alongside Maury Hollowell's colors. The double page spreads like this one look amazing. I feel that the designs in this arc are also incredible. The backgrounds look great and the inks are well placed. Now this book isn't perfect, as the constant back and forth from all the different fights and the different characters gets incredibly annoying. The pacing of the book could definitely use some work, and the story kinda sets up the Sentry to be the Deus Ex Machina I mentioned in my Volume 1 video. So he's not like that just yet, especially in this volume, as this is his origin story, but the Sentry is an incredibly powerful hero that is on a team with mainly street level characters. In later missions it becomes more obvious that he is too powerful for this specific team, but Bendis does some interesting stuff with him towards the end of his run that I do like. Bendis' humor also sometimes just doesn't land. Sometimes I feel like he has it in for Wolverine with the way he portrays him in his books. He literally had him getting ragdolled in the fight with the Wrecker. I'll admit, the scene of Spider-Woman revealing her pheromone power was pretty funny, and it does actually come up after this. For next week, I will be covering House of M, an 8-issue miniseries that is an event that changed Marvel for an incredibly long time. The aftermath of that event altered history, specifically for mutants, and was even a part of the inspiration for MCU's WandaVision. Why am I covering it though? Like I said, it's because of how it changed Marvel, and it's part of the reading order that I followed when I initially read a lot of Bendis' work at Marvel. I will also link the reading order that I'm using in the description if you want to follow along with me and see what upcoming books that I'll be covering in the series. What also helps is that House of M is also written by Bendis, so it helps connect this path that he built at Marvel that paved for the future for them for many years. Now I'll only be covering the main 8 issues and no tie-ins for it. For some future stories, I'll be covering some tie-ins, and they'll mainly be ones mentioned in the reading order that I'm using. And once again, if you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate it if you could like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks and have a great day.